Good morning. Daily game design time. Primarily working on Sugar Shack after quite a bit of attention on Adra HQ. I know for Adra HQ, actually, let me look. We have a meeting. I think we have a meeting to. Yeah, next week, yesterday. I do need to set a some kind of a I need to set some kind of a playtesting goal for Adra HQ. I've been playtesting at school a little bit, and the game is working fine. Almost. There's still the situation where I wonder if I should put a background because there's no real cost. It should put a gray box. I think. Doesn't do a lot, but it's something. Hmm. So I still in that game I think I still have the issue where oh hey Seth. Yeah, um wait a second. Huh. In that game, the issue persists where there there can be somebody who just has to draw cards, and then that's no fun. But I kind of think maybe that's okay. Not too sure. Yeah, not too sure yet. But I feel like that's the only that's the only major issue in that game right now. It could be more interesting. There could be some more, you know, card effects. There will be some more of um the event cards where just random things that the group has to deal with will show up. What I'm not sure about, because after that the last play test over the weekend with Stacy, I was thinking that maybe we should go back to the thinking where um hmm, to the thinking where it's actually cards in the center. The H like the HQ has issues, so sort of. Heroes of the Reef. This is the one I had the sort of bad learning experience with, just because it's nobody's fault really. I mean, you can't be. It's kind of crazy to expect somebody to be like super duper prepared with the rules all the time. But it was long, and we had to fix a whole bunch of things, and oh, I never fixed this. Or I never committed to this. Wait. Jeremy, I thought. Yeah. This last again got covered. There is something I don't um like. I know this is the kind of game, Sugar Shack is the kind of game where you could have a million different cards, you know, and each is a little different. Um, but one thing I recognize, actually, I was riding my scooter last night. I went to Other Realms. We played Ahoy, and then I scooted over to Swing Dancing. And on my scooter ride, I realized I realized there are not very many ways to get cubes in this game, apart from the evaporator. And maybe actually I'm articulating it out loud, it's probably best to leave it because this is Sugar Shack. You should be getting the majority of your syrup from the Sugar Shack itself. There will be very few times. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking I need to come up with a lot more ways to get cubes other than the business that you're trying to run. I feel like that's probably not a good idea. But it did stand out that the guys needed more cubes, and they were not running their Sugar Shack in such a way that would provide more cubes. So that's on them, but they forgot it, and that's why I need a player aid. So I want to work on that today too. See, I feel like everything else here though, I think in general, I think it's working fine. They did want a little more variety somehow, and I think I'm fixing that by added a little bit more interest to the town hall. This is the first situation where trophies are worth something. That has not been the case. So the town hall is a little more interesting, and it's going to push people to get trophies. One thing I'm kind of nervous about already, though, even without playtesting it, is the rich getting richer situation. Except not all trophies, not all trophies come from something that really benefits you. Um, well, I mean the the community projects card is, I guess, the only real example there. Everything else is generally good for you. So if you fill up the right here, if you fill up the gift shop, all that stuff is great. You're gonna benefit there. Yeah, I'm excited to see what it's like to empty the gift shop every time, every week, once every week. I think everything else is okay. The other major puzzle piece that is not working well is the grant office. I'm still of the mind that the grant office would be, yeah, it would be okay, I think, if it came out first, but I don't really want to force that. At the same time, maybe I just need to do it. There is the other part of me wants the hardware store to be the one that comes out first. So if you do reveal one, it feels like it should be the hardware store, but that's only because you want to be upgrading maybe as soon as possible. Hmm. Actually, this is not thematic at all. Not even a little bit. To get a cube of syrup from the town hall. There's just not much with only 2 currencies. No, why did I say that? There are 3 currencies because workers are a currency. In a way, I mean, there's something of value that that you can hire and lay off or sell. So, but I do think this is not really appropriate here. Maybe it doesn't matter. I still haven't figured out a good end game trigger, because it might be that 5 is actually like maybe 5 is the max, and then, or I mean on this card, because it could be that 6 is the win condition, right? By the way, Ahoy was an interesting surprise. I've never played Root on the table. I didn't know much about Ahoy, and I think it was Phil that gave me a copy at the retreat. So Ahoy is a super asymmetric. Huh. We definitely treated the map as if the rules did not work this way. So the way that, I don't know, it could have just been a little rules detail. Yeah, we definitely didn't do it like this. I wonder what the rule is now. Juice, he's the guy working at Other Realms that teaches all these games. He schedules them and teaches them. He taught it a specific way that seemed like you had to... that pretty much all of the pieces needed to look like this up here, like this area, where you could have, it could be kind of corner to corner, and then they would be branching off like this one as well. So there were always these gaps between tiles. So we never put them to full edge to full edge. Anyway, it was really, it was, it's super asymmetric, except everybody does have a boat where they're cruising around doing stuff. But apart from that, and they fight, like they do battle, so that does happen for everybody, and I think basically the same way. But even the rewards are not necessarily the same. Seth, have you played this one, Ahoy? It was interesting with 3 players. My experience. Okay. My experience playing Ahoy was being taught 80% of the rules. The 20% that was missing was it included how to start. Then the teacher wandered off. Where was how did that happen? That feels like a sort of con type of situation. Not that you were conned, I mean the kind of thing where it's like a big event going on and people are distracted or have to go change, or they get shifted to some other responsibility or something. Yeah. Right. That's too bad. It was, I don't know. My understanding, and this is what Juice said yesterday, it's the most accessible of the leader games with all the asymmetry and stuff. So if you have Vast and you have Root, uh, I don't I don't know who Whirly, like what's the difference between Whirly games? Whirly Whirly Gig Games, that's what it is. Because I thought Cole Whirly was behind most of these. But maybe he doesn't publish everything under. Yeah, let me just see which Leader Games publishes. Yeah, okay. Oh, wait. Leader Games were the makers of the Vast series, Root, Fort. Fort is a deck building game if I'm not mistaken. It's one that it looks cool, like the box kind of looks cute. Is it like a snowball fight or something? Maybe it's for a younger audience, or not necessarily younger, but maybe less hobbyist. And let's see who Whirl maybe it was John Company was one. Yeah, Whirly Gig. Oh, so they do these. Yeah, is a small publisher owned by Cole and Drew Worley. Formed to facilitate. Oh, interesting. It was first formed to facilitate a reprint of the second edition of PAX Premier. They seek to publish high quality games that treat their subjects and players seriously. Yeah, so these are. It looks like this is where they put their more like kind of historical. They're bigger and historical type of games. I've never. I don't remember this. Oh, it's coming. Oh, it's 2026. Well, Seth, I don't know that I'd be the most reliable for teaching the rules either, but Jacoby and I had a nice time with the game yesterday. But it was very, it it was a good story. I mean, in my view, and it's the kind of thing that if you are not me or Juice, so there were the three of us. It was me, Juice, and Jacoby, and I was the blue guy here. My job was to sail around and drop off these little sharks, and the little sharks they're kind of like um little fighting minions that I could send around and like go battle people. Or if I combine two into one on an island, then the island now has a stronghold, and that means something. It's you're not. It's going to be unlikely you're going to want to pass through that area because you automatically fight those strongholds, and those strongholds they have um, they're strong. They're strong, and they have an advantage when it comes to fighting. So the way our map was laid out, and that's why I'm surprised to see that you can do edge to edge here. The way our map was laid out, I got lucky in placing my strongholds at these bottlenecks where you really had to, unless you were gonna spend an action to like fly around somewhere, and you could, but you really had you pretty much stayed on the outside of the map, and you weren't gonna like go directly through it because you'd have to fight one of these strongholds. I wasn't thinking about that, and also I think the rules now that I'm seeing them here, they're different than what we learned. because there just was no way around them. You had to go through them, or you had to jump with a so-called tailwind action, which was fine. Like there was still a lot of tailwinding around. Tailwinding? No, tailwind actioning around. That was totally fine. But these guys were also on islands where you could recruit stuff. Okay, and then my big boat was, it was powerful in the sense that it counted for a lot when we checked for points at the end of the round. Oh, so also my little boat guys, my little shark fins, they also counted for power when checking for points at the end of the round too, scoring. And then the yellow guys, this was Jacoby, and Jacoby would drop off these, they were called comrades, these little clams or mollusks. These would just like pop up on islands, and he could spread out, and he had an action where literally like these guys would just show up out of nowhere. His boat, also his main boat, I believe, he would cruise around and drop these guys off at islands. And so they're just kind of out there, and each one of them is 1 point of power, and I'm just this one boat that has to go around dropping off guys. So it took me a long time to get to the point where I was getting some better map coverage, whereas he could just like show up all over the map if he wanted to. But he had to roll well too, which was kind of weird. Like there wasn't, I felt like he couldn't do much unless he rolled really specific stuff. But anyway, his whole thing was showing up on these islands, and then he also had boats, other little boats that he could send around and do stuff, which I think the RNG in the game kind of kept him from being able to use these very well. They didn't show up until later on anyway, and one of the boats, I think was the last card he drew. So he has a deck of cards. I didn't have a deck of cards, but I had more actions and a die that I could take more actions with. It is a dice placement or dice activation type of game. So you roll and then you place dice. And then you had Juice, who's the red guy. And Juice he wasn't really involved in either of those activities, like controlling islands and stuff. His whole thing was going around delivering stuff to the different islands. And he would still fight. There was one time that we kind of fought incidentally, just because I was working on something else and just ran into his boat. So we had to fight, but you take some damage that starts to limit the actions you can take. And that was the fighting, the combat system, whatever, it was fine. You can do some roll mitigation stuff with you can what is it? Something your cannons. Load your cannons. Okay, so there's a lot, and you can see I'm spending more time on this than I should, and that's also how these leader games work. It's like teaching them, explaining them takes about half the time, because with asymmetry, everybody's learning a different game. So anyway, it takes a while to get into it. And now once everybody understands what they can do on their turns, then you have to really keep in mind what everybody else wants to be doing. And that can be overwhelming. So Juice was like kind of sneaking around, just dropping stuff off. I didn't really know what he was up to for a long time. And anyway, it became apparent to me that it was a lot, and I wonder if this is the story of most of these Ahoy games, like most of the plays. So Jacoby very quickly like spread out around the map, and so he was starting to accumulate points. At the end of every round, he's like, whoa, like I had, 3 points. He has 9 points. And that was the sort of difference things were looking like. So then you have Juice, who's the red guy, starting to favor me. And the way he could do that is there were some cards that let him move Jacoby's stuff around, or let him spend Jacoby's stuff. That was kind of intense. And so he's weakening Jacoby, and at the same time, wherever he delivered to, that space became more valuable for scoring. Like, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a die here. Oh, this one says 2 on it. Wow. Yeah, this one says 2, whereas this one says 1. So if you control that tile, meaning you have more power in that area when you check for scoring, you're going to get 2 points. And so he was, I don't know if he was always doing it on purpose, but he was upgrading stuff that I controlled. So I started to pick up, and we started to even out. And then as my guys were spreading out, then I was able to like knock Jacoby around a little bit and clear off some of his stuff. So it exactly like right toward the end of the game, I started peaking in terms of power and coverage, and I overtook Jacoby right at the end, which I feel like almost never feels good as a player, to like start feeling like you feel good at the start. Oh, this is really fun. I'm doing great. I'm meeting my goals, that kind of thing. And then you start to see the other guy kind of build up. And it's sort of creeping, their power incrementally. They're starting to get a little more stuff. They're starting to beat you back a little bit. And then they grow and grow and grow. And then suddenly you're starting to feel like, and the other person's on their side. Like that definitely came out in the first third of the game. And just that, the creep, that slow, like the oxygen is being sucked out of your game, and then that person kind of starts to really take off, and then you just feel like the blood drains from your face, that sort of thing. I mean, everybody was fine at the end of the game, but I mean the experience of playing when somebody starts just to choke and to choke your play, like that doesn't feel good, especially in the last round. Like that's when it happened, when I was at my peak, was at the last round. And I don't know if that's common in this game, like it just takes a long time for blue to get going, or if they need help from red. Well, I mean, if red isn't in the game, it's just blue versus yellow, and I don't know what happens in that case. But really interesting narrative experience there. And I would be open to doing this again. I don't love direct conflict in games. I just don't love it. I don't know. I like solving other kinds of problems. And of course, this came down to dice rolls, so you can mitigate a little bit, like I said. But anyway, it was cool. I'd be open to playing again, and that's partly because the way the result. But I started feeling like I kind of understood what I should be up to. But anyway, it's pretty brilliant, like the asymmetry kind of thing. I don't know that I would love designing for asymmetry, but it would be cool to try some more. I do have a little bit. The other thing, before I jump back into Sugar Shack, so I went to swing dancing last night, and this was right after Ahoy, and swing dancing is a I used to do this with my mom a little bit, or I think we did it at Southern, my undergrad school, for a little while. Or no, like maybe one or two times it could be, I went to swing dance. They used to do it a lot. But I just didn't get out a whole lot when I was at Southern. And this is my second time going. I went last Tuesday, I went this Tuesday. And it's actually perfect because they start a lesson right around 8 o'clock, and Other Realms finishes, like they literally close at 8 o'clock. And the game finished around 7:45 or so. So it was actually like, the timing is perfect to get a game in. I miss Armchair. Stopping by Tuesdays, you get to see personalities like Brandy and Anna. and Daniel, but and of course Phil. But this is also really nice. So last week I went, had a nice little time, and I didn't realize how good of an opportunity it is to meet people in a really active way. And it's an exercise that's not as uncomfortable for me as a lot of others like sports. Because sports, pickleball, I love pickleball, but it just kills my neck and shoulder, and I'm so uncomfortable as I play. Okay, well, I was, we did our little circle of there was a lesson time, and so you basically meet most people in the circle at that point, which is pretty cool. And and there was this one girl there who, I started chatting with a little bit, and we were talking. Oh, the Singaporean dream. We were talking about the kind of work we do and whatever. And at some point, I mentioned that I'm interested in board games and game design. And she said, "Oh, I like playing board games." And she talked about how she had a collection at some point before she moved from. She is from Malaysia, I think. So, but anyway, I guess she's moved around quite a bit. She had a collection, and now she doesn't have one as much. But she just got this game from Malaysia, or a Malaysian designer maybe, and wanted to teach it to a friend. So anyway, she was telling me about it, and she sent me a link to it, and that was also a cool moment. So you just meet random people. Unfortunately, she's over in Kapolei, which is like it means she's not going to be coming into town that often. So it's not like she would be joining Mondays or anything like that. But it was just a fun random connection. Like I feel like I don't expect to meet people who overlap in a few different areas of hobbies. Because most like when I left for from Other Realms, I said, "Hey, anybody want to go to swing dancing?" Nobody said a word, and then we all kind of paused, and it was quiet. And then one guy, they said, "Oh, oh, oh, no, no, no," or another couple guys commented on how I was like, something like a man of many hobbies or something like that. But I get that there will not be a ton of overlap between like heavy gamers and dancing. Maybe there might not be a strength shared between those two hobbies necessarily. So anyway, it was cool that here is somebody who enjoys dancing and also enjoys games. So anyway, just having a look here. Oh, lets you steal Sabo and pay your way to be the perfect Singaporean. Yeah, okay. It just looks like a typical light take that game. I'm sorry if you guys are hearing. You shouldn't be. Maybe you do hear a little bit of the Facebook Messenger stuff. Self-published. Oh, that's cool. The goal of the game is to collect as many dreams as you can, and the game ends when all the dreams are bought. You can buy the dream cards with cash cards, gain them using action cards, or steal. This sounds like basically Monopoly Deal, probably. Oh, it is Monopoly Deal. At your turn, draw two cards first, then play up to 3 actions, which can be playing an action card, depositing money into the bank, buy a dream using money in the bank, or use personalities' unique powers. So, I mean, the system is definitely Monopoly Deal, but it sounds like there's some little differences. Like you don't spend money in the. Eh? Wait. Yeah, you do buy stuff out of your hand with money, right? But you don't have a unique power. You definitely don't have a unique power in Monopoly Deal. Well, anyway, that was a fun little connection, and it's always good to meet cool people and include more people. She hasn't gone to any of the game stores or anything like that either. Being in Kapolei, she's just like super removed from life in town with traffic and stuff. But anyway, ahoy, cool experience. The Malaysian dream. Maybe cute. I think she has a copy, so could try it out at some point. Oh, here was an interesting thing. I am actually very curious. So somebody asked in BGDL, somebody asked about whether you could, I don't know if I can get to the notification, whether there are any AI tools to help make 3D. Oh, this is also something crazy. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Look through these notifications. So, can anyone recommend the best AI tool for converting an already designed board game into 3D mockups and animation? So, I misread that or misunderstood it at first, because then what I did is I went into Gemini and I prompted it with this prompt here, which is please create an image of this scene, a game box with cover art, including the title Sugar Shack, a fitting thematic image of a Sugar Shack, and Scott Cable's the designer. Place the box against the black background on a surface of black velvet. And this is the image it came up with. And that's not bad, right? That's really not bad. And maybe this was like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe not good for me to see this, because now here, this is like, even the box size, it doesn't look perfect. Like, it should be probably slightly deeper for the typical box, the game box, but that's pretty like decent, right? And that was in Gemini with this prompt. But what she was really asking was that it had to do with how she already has the artwork here. This is great. Yes, I've already designed it. I'm a designer and board game creator. It's for presentations, for pitching. Thanks so much. So she, I think, has the artwork. And now what I'm going to try is huh. Looks like the connection's a little unstable, but I'm not sure why. So, where was it? It was... Oh, there is some connection problem. Is it this one? Yeah. So what I'm going to try here is uploading the card back for Sugar Shack. Let's see, gonna give you an image, you to incorporate the I want you to let that image inspire the box cover this time. Cover art this time. And follow the same, and then follow the same instructions as the last time. I wonder if it'll get that. So I'm just going to drop the card back in here that has the Sugar Shack and the image. This is a problem, that I export so much stuff, but I don't necessarily update. Like, I don't export to the same folders. So I have like tons of folders of stuff. Oh, here it is. And I want you to let that image inspire the box cover this time, and then and then follow the same instructions. Let's see what it does. Well, if this does produce like pretty nice little mock-ups, that's a big deal. And it's partly a big deal because on the same thread, you have this guy, Ori Kagan, somebody referring to Ori, and then Ori has this Blender kit that he built. And what that lets you do is drop in images into Blender to create these 3D mockups. So if Gemini does well, and Gemini does well doing this, I mean, it doesn't look that awesome, and it only says sugar, but I think with some more prompting, like, it absolutely took details from this image and made it happen. Like, that's pretty nuts, right? So, can you zoom in on the label on the side? I have to download it. Well, I can show you that the image I downloaded yesterday, the angle's a little better on the box. And I'll show you this one first. So the U is a little bit off, it looks like, but it's similar in style. There's just no gap there. And then there's double C here. Sugar Shack. And then this is meaningless, but it does look like A, and then something something something. So that's not good. But anyway, you can see that this box is tilted a little more than the other one. Let's have a look at this one. And this one actually does say sugar, and then there's not quite enough, but it looks like something ek. But there are 4 letters here instead of nothing on the cover. I don't know. What do you think? I think that's pretty impressive. That it might take some extra prompting to get. I don't know. Sometimes these guys just keep making the same. It keeps making the same image over and over, even though I try to prompt it differently. It is interesting that it completely cut off. This looks pretty good. Make sure the title of the game is Sugar Shack. Try one more time, and then I'm going to go back to working on the game itself. I added another trophy. I think I added it yesterday morning, right here. So that if you have over 40 money, then you gain another trophy too. And that should be unusual. It happened in the game on Monday night. I think Jeremy he definitely went over 30 money. He may have gone over 40. So actually probably 30 is more reasonable. What's kind of cool about the way these trophies are working right now is that you can have this trophy, but you can also lose it. And the same is true for the gift shop. If you fill this up and you have access to that trophy, but at the start of the next week you're going to lose that trophy because the gift shop's going to be reset. I think that's a cool detail. There is no other. Yeah, there's no other situation where that is the case. Okay, let's check in over here. Oh, so it figured it out, and actually it got the text on the edge of the box correct as well. On the oh no, it didn't. It says Swooger. It's got a kind of a W there instead of a U. It's this one. And this is crazy, but I mean, like, just as a mock-up, that's pretty awesome. And I'm a little sad it just completely borrowed from the font and everything on the card because that's not great graphic design, but it followed instructions. So this is certainly more attractive. It even kind of has maple leaves here. They're not perfect, and they may be a little bit more like oh, we used to have those trees. Beech trees? No, not beech. They're a weed tree, and I can't think of what they are. Anyway, fun little side quest here, figuring out the capabilities of Gemini in helping in this process. Oh, I almost want to, Seth. I almost want to just ask it to make a set of icons for Yes Your Grace. I'm not going to do it. I know you've already got yours. And I really don't think you should, for a final product. I buy into the idea that you really should hire a professional. Or at least hire an artist, but you absolutely could just make a set of, what are they, shields or coats of arms. Okay, one thing that the guys forgot on Monday was the free actions. So that's what I've set apart here. I'm going to make this a little different color. And I love how clean this is. Activate a town location or claim a mayor card. If you have no workers left, pass. That's it. That's your whole turn. Otherwise, you can take free actions, maybe taken at any time. So I think that's great. Like, this is way, way cleaner than this game was a few iterations ago. Like, yeah, much more streamlined. Reconcile and flip the warehouse. Why this should be like this. Because now there is clear off the, what is it called? The gift shop. The other thing that'll be important. Oh, this was something that that Jacoby commented on, or that we appreciated. Wow, it's so weird. Just losing. It's weird because the stream looks good everywhere except for Twitch. Like Twitch keeps resetting, and I'm not sure why. But the others are kind of hanging on. Like it says, I've been live on Twitch for a minute and 50 seconds. Yeah, that's weird. You know what's also weird is that for some reason my account is my Instagram. Yeah, my Cabletop Games Instagram account. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's dying. But my Instagram account for some reason is like it's getting pushed out to more people. I think I had 310 followers yesterday and now I have 318. And I don't know what happened. Like I don't like just algorithmically they're just sending me to more people or something. No idea. But that's cool. I posted twice yesterday. I posted the reels of Praga and Rapa Nui. And for some reason I'm just getting suggested maybe to a few more people. That was kind of cool. I guess I was in the process of deciding whether I like this idea thematically. I don't think I do. You shouldn't be able to go to the town hall and get syrup. But what else is there? You can get an instant worker. The thing is, I don't want to incentivize. I really don't want to incentivize going to the town hall all that much. Because, well, I don't know. Maybe if it's better, there's just incidental competition for first player. The thing is, I think first player should be a benefit, but maybe it shouldn't be that powerful. So maybe it's fine to give somebody a little something when they go here. Scry 1, it should still be useful, but it's just not that. It turns out it's just not that useful. I'd say the last piece of the puzzle when it comes to this iteration, because I think there could still be more. There could still be a bunch of changes, but the way that the grant office has come out late and it's just been completely useless and irrelevant, that's not cool. Because these are really powerful abilities. And I think they should be available from the beginning. And what that would also allow is you do get to build up those cubes. But imagine somebody getting this ability like early in the game. I think that's just game over. I think there's no coming back. If somebody gets in the second, let's say they gain an ability in the second week, the second of 3 weeks, and they get to ignore the worker placement rule for the rest of the game, I feel like that's just insane. I don't know how you could ever come back from that. I feel like I did have a solution in mind for that. Oh. This is what it was. It was trophy based. That's what I thought of yesterday. Um, No, maybe I don't. I was just gonna say, what if the requirement was like 3 trophies, but you can't lose trophies, so you could just come here and do it again. I mean, you can't spend trophies. And I think the thing here is that you should, like, if you work super hard, maybe you could get 2 of these abilities. That'd be insane. But I think for the most part, if anybody gets any ability, it should only be that you get 1. I mean, I think you could make it work to get 2, but that should be wildly rare. And it needs to be that this is the thing you focused on, to the detriment of other things. Oh, I am excited that we've got we're gonna have our design meetup tonight, a little dinner. I think I'm bringing Japanese curry, Japanese curry for tonight. So we're gonna have James Ernest is still in town, so we're gonna have him join us, and a few other designers, just for a meetup, just spend some time together, see what we can learn from each other, do some playtesting. So pretty excited about that. See, I don't think this is really a problem. Like, I just think it's a timing issue. And it's just got to be worth spending 3 workers. I feel like these abilities are so powerful that it's just got to be like you just burn your whole turn to make this happen, or you burn the whole round, and that should be fine. I think later on in the game, maybe you feel pressure to like work on other things, and that's right. I think you should. It definitely would be too late for some of these abilities. But maybe it's just that this has to come out first. I don't love that, but maybe that's just how it needs to be. I was kind of tempted to remove this card. No, not this card. What was it? This, yeah, down here. This one that this one that makes it so that it cuts off the grant office, like you're not putting cubes into the grant office with this one. But maybe if it comes out first, maybe it's totally fine. Because then you actually have time. You have 3 rounds to get cubes over there, and you are going to get cubes there because yeah, I think I just need to play test with this card coming out first. Kind of nicely that the hardware store came out first in the previous games, and my sense is that if there are just 2 cards that come out at random, that's not that meaningful. In other words, 4 cards are stacked here. Usually at the start of the game, 4 cards are stacked. And with 4 cards coming out randomly, I feel like that does create a very different start. Potentially a different start in most games. And I think that's cool. However, if we bring out the grant office first, then that means that there are up to 3 cards that come out randomly, and that reduces the variability. Like, how do you calculate permutation? I forget. Is it 1 times 2 times 3? Those are the options. So with 3 cards, then right? Because is it 3 factorial? I think that's what that is. See, I don't know math at all. But right, so if it's 1 times 2 times 3, then you have 6 possible starts to the game. But if it's 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, then you have 24 possible series, or like different. Yeah, how many ways can you draw 3 cards in order? It's 3 factorial. Yeah, so I think having 4 cards that come out at random is very attractive to me because of that variability, but it's just the RNG is just not good. If the order doesn't matter, you divide by something. Oh. Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure. The order definitely doesn't matter. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing what that idea is, but it feels like because the 3 basic buildings have to be out. The first one is a way just to get a little bit of money. That's Closer to Be Market. The second one is Syrup Inc., and that's a way to get more stuff. That's really important. The other way is the warehouse. The warehouse doesn't technically need to be out there, I guess. Oh, okay. Commutation, isn't that the other one? Combination is where order doesn't. No, commutation is like a math. What is that? Combinations, permutations. Okay, cool. How many possible combinations? Well, I guess the order kind of does. Okay. I feel like the commutation is a, what is that? Math. Commutative property. Yeah, A plus B equals B plus A. Anyway. See, look at me trying to sound mathy, and I just can't do it because I don't know anything about math. Okay, well, I am meeting my friend Matt Webster for breakfast over here at Lily Hot Bakery. It's very nearby, so the time pressure isn't what it could be. But I am going to transition away. And Matt was here for, I think he lived here for 6 years or something like that. Maybe more. And he moved away 2-3 years ago. And he cycles back through every now and then, so it's always good to see him. Did I get much done here? You know what I just thought of and realized is that I wonder if the warehouse doesn't need to be one of the 3 starting cards. No, I think it does. Because I think the barrel needs to be tempting, and if it doesn't come out, if there's no place for a barrel in the first, well, I don't know. Interesting. I think this is also something to test. Okay, things to test. Things to test. One of them is start with the grant office. as the make the grant office available at the start. No other changes. Make the grant office at the start and move the warehouse to the building pile. I don't know, building pile. What else? Was there anything else to test? Oh, choose the trophy number. And I think it needs to be 6 or 7 maybe. Probably 6. 5 through 7. And if it's 5 through 7, that means that I would have to change I'd have to change the town hall card. 5, 6, or 7. Okay, very cool. Seth, thanks for joining me. See you later tonight. And for everybody else, have a great day as well. I will see you soon.